Welcome to the Funky Fresh Garden Show with yours truly, the Grow Goddess, here on KYGT The Goat, 102.7, broadcasting live from the beautiful mountains of Idaho Springs, Colorado. Beautiful and snowy.
And cold.
And cold. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Our show is intended to connect growers and gardeners with industry experts and their expert advice. My goal is to inspire people to not only be interested in the things that they ingest, but how to grow it themselves. We take calls for your gardening questions. If you'd like to call in, the number is 303-567-4628. Or you can always send us a message on our Facebook page at facebook.com/thefunkyfreshgardenshow. Obviously, Shane is here. He joins me as my co-host.
What's up, everybody?
Today is going to be a cool episode, I think, because we haven't gotten a chance to really talk about this on the show. But we're going to discuss the products and the technology out there that makes it possible for you to control every aspect of your grow room or warehouse. The number one thing that we stress is efficiency, and especially in larger grow operations, this is a must. You can't be God, you can't do everything, you'll never reach your crop's full potential without proper monitoring and sensor systems to ensure that your environment is spot on. So today we're going to be joined by Skye from Smart Bee Controllers. He's going to discuss with us his company and what his company has created to make all of this possible for you. Their product line is a one-of-a-kind, totally wireless sensor network with the ability to give you full control while saving you time and money. One big thing is that most monitoring systems on the market limit you on the amount of devices you can connect to it. Smart Bee Controllers allow you to theoretically have up to 65,000
That is correct.
sensors that continuously monitor light, temperature, and humidity. Shane, obviously you work in a lot of different facilities. What's your opinion on the environmental controls being used, if any at all?
Well, that's the reality of it. In our market here in Colorado, so few of these large growers, even the ones that are considered to be the best and the professionals, they're lucky if they have sensor networks, let alone automation and control. And they've all been wanting more control over their systems and be able to access the sensors remotely, and a lot of them just don't know what's out there, let alone how to acquire it or how to use it. And so this is kind of the next evolution of things within our market, is to have something that, you can access from your handheld phone or a tablet or whatever, and not only be able to read what's going on in the systems, but also be able to make those changes on the fly.
Right, and that's huge for these guys. And a lot of them obviously don't live on site. So that's one huge thing, is just being able to access it remotely and see it and control it.
And I mean, not just living on site, most of them are dying for a vacation, to be able to go out on a date at night with their girlfriend or wife.
What do you see in the facilities? Do you just see you've got your random humidity controller, humidifier, dehumidifier, CO2?
Yeah, I mean, most of them that are running CO2, they have some sort of CO2 controller, but a lot of times that's the extent of it. Even, the dehumidifiers pretty much just run 24 hours a day, and they use thermostats for the set points on the air conditioning. But even in reality, those set points are on a wall down at the end of the room or down at the end of the facility rather than being within the crop. And that's where you have to make your temperature adjustments,
Right.
It's
Make sure you're getting good flow through everything.
Yeah, so, all right. Well, cool. As usual, I like to have a little song, and then we'll return with Skye and all that good gardening knowledge here on the Funky Fresh Garden Show, 102.7 The Goat. Welcome back. You're listening to the Funky Fresh Garden Show on 102.7 The Goat. Today we are joined by Skye from Smart Bee Controllers. Hi, Skye.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Awesome.
Cold?
Yeah, not too bad.
a little different from Southern California.
And just a little bit.
So tell us a little bit about Smart Bee as a company, how it started.
Well, it started with me trying to find solutions to wasting my time driving just to see what my vitals were within grows. So, I had to drive an hour round trip, and it was taking time away from my family. And, You know, it wasn't necessarily giving me any extreme value, but just the peace of mind of knowing that everything was okay and that
Right.
I wasn't going to be screwing something up. So with that, I met an amazing software engineer, electrical engineer, and we just started developing products and looking for existing technologies, and we just came across some good ones and decided to develop a platform that would be cost efficient for growers coming up in a hobbyist level all the way to a commercial level. Just creating a platform that allowed them to get the vitals, whether they had a 4-light room or a 100-light room.
Right. It's kind of for growers by growers sort of thing. I like that. I like that it comes from that background. Because obviously there's a lot of thought that goes into it. You're really thinking about those key elements that cost you time and money.
We've spent a lot of time focusing on a grower's needs and what they need and how to best give them what they need while not making them to conform to any type of methodology that we have, and it's not biased in any way. If they want to do something totally off the wall and wrong, then they can do it, but we want to give them presets that give them kind of a push in the right direction.
Right.
We wanted to focus our software on user experience, giving them visual cues that they're used to seeing in traditional forms of hydroponic growing. You know, the timers, there's familiar visuals,
Right.
such as being able to work a gray pool timer for turning your lights on and off. I don't know how many years we've used those to trigger relays.
Yeah.
And just giving them a familiar actions and process. And I think that we've kind of done that with our software. I mean, you've taken a look at the app. What do you think?
Personally, I think it's definitely going to be something that is extremely successful. It is very user-friendly as far as things go. It has a familiar feel to it, but it's also got that commercial capability that I personally look for as a consultant, to be able to monitor various aspects individually and correlate them between each other, and then also having the multi-garden capability and being able to just really plug and play all these things and look at graphs over time and see the actual data as a plot versus just a single point in time when I'm looking at a sensor. You know, how many of us have those analog sensors? And yeah, we look at them 3, 4, 10 times a day, whatever. But that's not the same as having a graph and
Right.
watching
It's definitely
behavior.
a game changer being able to see it change over time and watch it and see and
And
visualize
when those
it.
changes happen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because you can go in and hit your high growth thermometer and see what your max and min are, but it doesn't
Right.
tell you what time of day that was or what the circumstances leading up to that.
Right.
It doesn't give you the ability to see patterns develop
Absolutely.
as your plants are growing.
I mean, especially, you know, myself driving an irrigation strategy as a consultant, being able to see that moisture content like ramping, basically, because, yeah, we have a target level, but the only way to achieve that target level is basically an average. It's a ramp up and dry down. So it comes out to that, and being able to see that on a graph makes all the difference in the world.
You know if you're in the right levels, how long it's at the right optimum level for,
Right.
how long it's outside of the level because you just watered. Is it taking too long to dry down, or what's
Right.
going on?
Well, I think it'll change the way people diagnose issues, diseases, and pests, and
Absolutely.
all kinds of things.
That's the way most of our focus group have used it. Mainly is just being able to see what's happening and seeing these patterns develop and going, oh, this information and this way that I'm doing this is causing this effect. And
Right, and if you can change it environmentally, why wouldn't you?
Right.
Instead, we're spraying and we're using all kinds of horrible things in our products.
And I mean, being able to see this kind of root zone information over time, you can literally, it's almost a direct correlation to growth rates. And, you know, if you see a change in the behavior of the way those roots are absorbing nutrients, then you realize, okay, there's something slowing this growth rate. So what's causing that? You got to go in and figure that out. But this is basically an early indicator.
be able to see all of your vitals over a period of time and go, okay, well, my humidity's rising at this point, and then you see all the other effects that happen at the same time. Mm-hmm. It kind of gives you the ability to not have to spend your time as a detective trying to find out what's wrong. Yeah. It just gives you everything you need in one spot to just kind of go, okay, here's a picture of what's happening over this day,
Exactly.
and go, okay, here's how I need to make these changes.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
early problem solving.
Well, and I think it educates.
Yes.
On top of
It does.
everything, after seeing all that, you're really going to learn from it if you're willing to learn from it, I suppose. But, if you're going to, it's like learning from your mistakes, only
Absolutely.
it's exactly outlining every
It's
one of
written
your
down
mistakes.
for you. Exactly. It forces you to write it down because it does it for you.
Yeah. So obviously, in order to make this app work, we've got all these different components, and the main one is going to be the Hive.
The Hive Gateway is basically the logic controller for the whole system. It's the computer that runs all of the if this, then that type of activity, and it runs our whole rules engine. And so what it does is it has a bridge that will allow you to connect to the internet and allow it to be an outside network device. And then it also has the capability to create a wireless mesh network inside your garden and in multiple rooms within your garden. And what a wireless mesh network is it's a different frequency than Wi-Fi that has a lot more robust nature. It's used a lot for machine-to-machine communication in industrial applications where there's heavy frequency noise. Sometimes ballast will create different frequency.
It's a huge issue.
And what we've done is we've taken this robust wireless protocol and built a whole suite of sensors and controllers based upon it. We have the Hive Gateway, which is the main logic center. We have a light temperature humidity sensor that you can hang in your canopy at plant level that uses just a wireless communication back to the hive to drive data to the data logging. We also have solar panels on board that charge an onboard lithium-ion battery, so you don't have to have it plugged into anything. The light,
awesome.
the excess light the excess power light that's coming off your lights keeps the battery charged, so you don't ever have to take it out of service.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's huge.
It is.
One less cord.
And then the other beautiful thing is you can have all of these sensors throughout your space giving you an average of what your overall space is like, but then you can also see that graph of, okay, here's all the different things, all the different sensors that are pushing this sensor data, temperature, humidity, and then you can see outliers. So you know if certain zones aren't getting the right airflow or there's stagnant air. Just having that is just another way to solve.
Yeah.
Or if, say, one bulb goes out,
Yeah.
that sensor is going to automatically show it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's awesome.
We also have power monitoring capabilities on all of our smart plugs and smart power strips that we have. We have an independently controlled 4-outlet power strip. We call it the Smart Strip 4. And we have a single outlet smart plug that's for a little bit higher amperage.
So the one with the 4 devices, you can turn them on.
You can
and
turn
off?
each plug on and off
That's
independently.
Yeah, that's huge.
So it's not like a one-trick pony. When you buy
Right.
some of these automation systems
On
that are
and off,
available
so.
for thousands and thousands of dollars, you're like, oh, I get one plug that I can
switch.
control. And it's like if you buy one of our systems, you get the ability to say, handle an irrigation pump, handle a lighting control trigger cable, handle a CO2 emitter, handle an
Circulation
exhaust
fan,
fan,
all kinds of fans,
it's really whatever you assign the device to be. There's
Right.
all kinds of different grow room appliances. You have any different number of things.
Absolutely.
You just assign that controller to that device, and then it uses that device as the way to control it based off of your sensor data that's being driven to the hive.
So it's just super versatile.
We tried
In
to make
every
it
way.
that way.
Compared to anything else out on the market, it is.
Absolutely.
It's,
In this market, it's one of a kind.
yeah. So the irrigation controller. This is really cool.
We've developed another sensor, which is a water content and temperature sensor module. And you can plug up to 6 water content sensor probes into this one module. Covers about a 10 by 10 space. Gives you the way to average throughout your space and see what your average water content and root zone temperature is. And then you can also log that data, see what your dry down rates are, see how fast it's it's getting saturated.
Right. Will it automatically adjust when it sends that information off to the hive? It's always gonna be based on the water content, not time, like a timed.
Well, what we've done
timer is
we have control features to help you to prevent over and underwatering. So we have what we call the onset of stress set point, which is the lowest that you would ever want to allow it to go without getting water. Mm-hmm. And that triggers a automatic irrigation to protect against coming into a room full of wilted plants. We also have an allowance set point that allows an irrigation to take place as long as it's below that threshold. And so what we've done is we allow you to program in timed irrigations with duration. It's kind of like a programmable cycle timer in a way,
right,
where you program an on time and the duration of that irrigation session.
Okay.
And it will go through that unless your dry down is not happening at the right rate, and then it will stop it from happening until it reaches that rate.
Amazing. Exactly.
That's your head grower right there.
Yeah, that is your head grower.
And then you basically can also program a whole schedule over time based on the amount of weeks, and you can do weekly timed irrigation scheduling.
Right. I mean, set that up, program the whole flowering cycle, make sure your res is on a float valve, and then all you got to do is nutrients. That's it. It's pretty amazing piece of equipment.
Yeah, for sure.
We've also just launched a handheld water content sensor and meter that will give you ability to spot check throughout your grow and see that everything's getting watered evenly and that dry downs are occurring properly.
Right.
And this is huge. I remember, I sold, remember those little soil moisture meters?
Oh, yeah.
Little prongs.
Little prongs. I hated selling those to people. I really did, because it was it says
yeah, it's
good
very
or
inaccurate.
bad.
It's not
that's
even.
all it's really said. We've never really had anything on the market that's so versatile too, as far as medium goes.
And especially being, based from the internet platform is huge.
Right.
I mean,
it's just, I think it's something that everybody's going to be interested in. It's just coming out, right? You're just kind of putting it out there.
We're just putting it out there. We just officially launched it yesterday, and we should look to be shipping the beginning of December.
That's on the
so
handheld.
We have to play with it.
That's on the handheld.
How long has the full package been open?
The full package has been going out to a few beta testers over the past month or two. After all of our initial gray Skye testing, we want to make sure everything is solid before we let someone's grow rely upon our equipment.
Right.
With all the changes that we have on our release plan, we look to have it ship towards the beginning of this coming year.
Perfect. So January, sign it up.
Coming
me up.
Yeah, and I'm sure they can get information on that, on your website.
Yeah, smartbeecontrollers.com. You can find out a lot of information about how the system works, the software package, what's available, and
there's a nice little video.
Yeah, it's definitely something to go and look at and check it out, because like we were talking about, it's kind of hard to explain. Sometimes it's better to see, because now that I really get the whole picture, it's definitely something to check out, especially if you're counting on crops to come through. You can't.
Well, that, and do you want to spend your time in the grow watching your sensors, or do you want to be able to check it from anywhere?
Spend time with your family.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd rather be snowboarding.
Well, I know you would.
Something.
For sure. Well, cool. Did we touch on everything? We touched on all the controllers and the sensors.
Well, there's a lot of different sensors. We also have the CO2 sensor, which also Shane touched on earlier. Usually they're mounted on the wall at the end of the room, where our sensor just hangs in the middle of the canopy.
It should be.
You can, if you have a large space, several hundred feet big in any direction, you could put multiple sensors and average all of the sensor data and get a big picture of what's going on in your space, as well as seeing outliers.
To run the CO2, generator or injector.
Yeah, if you have multiple smart plugs, you can have multiple emitters throughout the space,
Right.
and be triggering multiple devices, and they'll all turn off and turn on with very little latency.
Yeah.
And you can control everything, right? So as long as this is all hooked up to this hive, I mean, you can control your power strips.
We can control power
Your
strips, all
irrigation,
grow room
all your
appliances, lights, exhaust fans, humidifiers, irrigation pumps. You can get really tricky with it if you have certain stuff you need to do. There's always the MacGyverisms of growers.
It's just amazing, the whole technology behind it. I think, obviously, in the day that we live in now, is everything is accessible via your phone or through an iPad or through whatever Android.
Certain ideas are really good, but maybe they're before their time. And I think that the timing of this really kind of goes hand in hand with what is socially acceptable as far as, I'm familiar with apps. I can figure out an app. It's not like, this is some scary technology.
Right.
I don't know how to control or set up.
And I think that's what really makes it so attractive is just the basic, simple user interface that, we're all familiar with. It's nothing that you couldn't just open up and understand
or
what's going on. Yeah.
It definitely was set up to be that way. It's an interview process that asks you questions as you're setting it up so that you can configure it and get it onto your internet connection, and it makes it easy to walk through the different devices and go, okay, I want this device in the front of the room, I want this device in the back of the room, and depending on how big your space is, you just set up a system so that you can see that you get good coverage through your whole space. You know what's going on in every inch of your space, and then when you're at home at 8 o'clock at night and you go, oh man, is my temperature right? And you look at your iPad and you're like, oh, cool, it's fine. Everything's going good right now.
Now I can sleep easy.
And that's great. I mean, that's got to be worth something to you to have that peace of mind.
Absolutely.
For consultants too, being able to log into your different contracts and seeing what's going on and being able to oversee and make sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And you're like, why is this
not done yet?
No, I think that's really interesting because there's actually a lot of one thing I noticed, like when I dealt with the hospital last year, was that they would have doctors in other states who could look at individual rooms and vitals and what was going on, and it's like, okay, well, they're doing it from here. Why is this not utilized in other aspects? Yeah. And especially like you said with the consulting, it's huge to be able to log in, even if they're not looking at it, for him to be able to look at it and say, hey, we've got a problem,
Well, right. And I mean, as a consultant, part of my job is to check that stuff every day. So
analyze that data.
Absolutely.
Right.
So.
And when you're living in another state or, you've got clients all over, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't, I forgot.
I got to drive there real fast. I'll be right back.
You can't do that. You got to plan it out. So.
Being able to just get someone to be there on the fly. Yeah. If you get a text message alert that says that your lights are out.
Yeah, I mean, that's
go
something
there.
else we haven't really talked about is the app itself has the capability to send your phone alerts.
If your temperature gets too high, it'll kick off your lights and send you a text message and say, hey, your lights are off, so you need to go check on your space.
Hey, I took care of this for you, but you need to
whatever it is, whether your AC went out or your fan that brings in cool air
goes out. It's really like your
best
out. Friend.
Well, it is. It's insurance. I mean, I kicked your lights off, but I didn't burn your plants up.
Right.
Can't
go
be
fix
mad.
it before it becomes a problem.
The lesser of two stresses.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and that's amazing. I love that it
gives you peace of mind.
Yes.
That's really one of the main selling points is that you get to rest easy,
right.
knowing that if something does go wrong, you're going to know about it in near real time.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that can mean all the difference in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I know that we've had rooms before where the AC has gone out.
Yeah, temperature spikes to 100
or higher, 140-ish, and you walk in and it's straw, and you're like, oh god.
That's a rough day.
And especially when people are relying on that and you're paying people's incomes and you're supporting families, and you want to make sure that you have as much consistency as possible.
That's what you want in a business.
Absolutely. It is a business.
Because in order to project, in order to anything, I mean, you really have to know. This allows it.
I mean, as a business, we're budgeting, you know. If we have a crop failure, well, that just totally screws the budget for the whole year.
And it happens, but
It does.
I bet they don't have this.
I bet they don't have this. One crop failure and they'll be signing up.
Well, one system, and it could save your crop within and pay for itself within days if a piece of equipment fails.
Yeah, absolutely.
Break it down like that.
I mean,
All right. Well, cool. Anything else? That's it? We touched on everything?
I think so.
All right. Well, we'll take our long break now, and then if you have any questions, you can call in. The number again is 303-567-4628, or you can send it to our Facebook page. Welcome back. You're listening to the Funky Fresh Garden Show on 102.7 The Goat. Before we go, I just wanted to bring up a couple things. We will all be at the Indo Expo this weekend. Shane will be there as Horticultural Solutions.
I have a booth, number 207. I'll also be speaking on Saturday from 2:15 to 2:45. Room B.
Room B? Oh, there's 2 rooms.
Yeah.
Okay. And Skye will also be there.
Consulting for Horticultural Solutions.
Consulting.
Absolutely. We're the best.
Come hang out. You can check out. Are you going to have this meter on display?
We'll have our new handheld water content meter and a lot of information about our products.
Cool.
We'll have some other flyers and stuff, greenhouses and injectors and
Dosatron.
Yep.
We'll have a couple other items. And I'll be there hanging out and talking to people and doing my thing.
And that's
about it. I don't know that we have anything else until next year. It's the end of the year. Nothing. It's Christmas time. I don't think we have anything else.
No more trade shows, at least.
No more trade shows.
I'm sure we'll have some more guests on the show, yeah.
I would hope so. Jeez. Thanks. Hopefully someone please come and be on my show, please.
Right. We've had such a shortage of guests.
Oh, well, that's the other thing. I had to reschedule with some people. I'm trying to get Cutting Edge in here.
Yeah, and Rao Brothers had to reschedule.
But we're gonna... Oh, sorry. My computer totally just restarted. All right, well, I guess that's it. Do we have anything else we want to touch on?
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming up here. It's cold and it's mountainous, so it's kind of difficult to get up from Denver.
But it's awesome, so I really appreciate it. And if anybody wants more information about our products, they can go to www.smartbeecontrollers.com.
Right on.
Cool. All right, well, that's our show. I hope we taught you something new and inspire you to get growing. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/funkyfreshgardenshow. And then you can also check out the Goats Facebook at facebook.com/KYGTFM.
I think so.
I believe that's what it is. All right, happy growing.